Hey everyone, this is Matt Phillips. I hope you're having a phenomenal day so far. Excited to be here with you live, talking about a topic that is literally foundational to your success. And it was a realization I had, and I've had it at multiple stages in my life, like transitioning to life after my baseball career to different career shifts I've had, and even starting my business. And now that I understand this concept, I'm able to be like ultra aware of it and make sure that I'm setting myself up to be successful in every situation that I go into. So the concept today I want to talk to you about is how do we ensure that you are operating in your ideal environment, where in this environment you have the best chance to thrive, right? The best chance to experience success. And that's whether we're talking, something at home like working out or nutrition. I mean, something like that, to relationships, to, if you're trying to grow a business or start a business or grow in your career. It's really applicable to every area of life. And so the concept around this ideal environment is actually born out of a situation that I had, going back a number of different years. Without going into the full story, uh, one of the situations that happened, I looked in the mirror one day, and the person I saw staring back at me was a person who was 30 pounds overweight. And at this point, I was working in my corporate career. We had just moved back we'd been back from Switzerland a couple of years, living in the United States. And, in my mind, it's funny in those times, right? When you look in the mirror, it's like, I'm like, wow, it's like it happened overnight. Like 30 pounds just popped on. Like, amazing how that works, right? Now, truth be told, over a couple of years, that 30 pounds added up and got me where I was at. So I'm sitting there trying to contemplate, like, how do I get this up? Because my energy's low. I'm not feeling good about myself. I want to get back to when I felt really good, which the best time of my life where I've been in the best shape, during this time was during my collegiate and baseball days, right? And when I was playing overseas as well. I mean, I was like 7% body fat. I was, pretty ripped, actually. I felt good about myself, right? It's not bragging. I just felt good. I worked hard for that. So I should be proud of that, darn it. But I wanted to get back to that. And what baffled me in that moment was I sat there and I'm like, but I'm going to the gym. I belong to a gym, a big chain. And I was going to the gym maybe a couple times a week. And I'm like, what could be wrong? Well, as I started to dig into this, a couple things became very apparent to me. Um, truth be told, I was going to the gym, not consistently as I looked at the data, right? Isn't it funny when you start looking at information and getting it out of your head and, taking the emotional piece out of it and saying, no, what are the facts here? And the facts were that I wasn't going to the gym as much as I was saying. And when I would go to the gym, I mostly spent my time like wandering around, like I'm walking around the gym, like pick up a weight here and there, right? I mean, I'm really not being effective at all going to the gym, right? Maybe you've had that experience as well, where if that saying that I say all the time is luck favors the prepared. I mean, I wasn't preparing. So of course I wasn't getting the best workout that I could have at that moment. But that was a massive realization of like, I go to the gym, but I hate going to the gym by myself. Still to this day, I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm not getting pushed. I have to think of the workouts. I mean, it's a complete pain. And this realization popped in my head, which I want to talk to you about today, of, why was I so successful back when I was playing collegiately and playing overseas and in such good shape, feeling good about myself? And why is it so difficult now? Like, why is it so difficult? And what I discovered as I dug into it, it was a complete environmental change that I had forced upon myself. You see, back when I was playing baseball, there were two factors that were very important that I figured out. One is that I always had a team around me. There was never once that I can remember where I didn't have at least one other person with me, if not the full team or a group of people working out with me. That could have been running, lifting weights, playing baseball, that was the way it was. There was always a team around me. The second thing that I found very interesting is that I never had to think of what my workouts were. So let's say I'm going to lift weights with my team at Creighton. Okay, well, there was a trainer there whose job was to create these workouts for us, and then we would go through them. I didn't have to think about the workouts. I would just go execute because I'm really good at executing. I'm not so good at planning. When we'd be at baseball practice, my coach, like clockwork, 15 minutes before practice every day, he would come down and he'd put up the practice schedule, right? And I'd go up and I'd kind of not memorize, but look at like what we're doing for that day and then go execute. I didn't have to think about what we were doing for baseball. So you take that I have the team, and I don't have to think of my workouts. I basically got an expert setting up the workouts. And then I go to this part of my life, and it's me by myself trying to figure out the workouts. Do you think I'm going to be successful in that environment? No. You see, this is the power of this winning environment, as I call it. It's what environment are you playing in? Where have you been successful in the past? And how do we replicate that going forward? Because if you know you're successful there, you're probably going to be successful over here. And so about this time that I'm going through this, actually, we ended up moving again back to Denver, Colorado, which is where I reside now here in the U.S. And I stumbled upon this thing called CrossFit. And I'd heard about it, and I'm like, okay, it's like seems interesting, and I'd seen it on TV and stuff like that. So I'm like, I'll go try it. And immediately I found I liked two things about CrossFit. One is that at 5 a.m. when I'm working out, that I have my team there. Now, does it look a bit different than college? Sure, of course, right? We're talking business people. We're talking stay-at-home parents. We're talking people of different ages, whatever. But every morning I would show up, I had my team there to work out with me. They were pushing me, I was pushing them. The second thing that I liked is that every morning, about, 5-10 minutes before the workout started, the trainer, the owner of the gym, of the CrossFit box, would walk up, and he or one of his coaches, he or she, would actually write down what the workout is. I would walk up to the board, look at what we're doing, and do what I do best and go execute. So right then and there, I had this epiphany that like, oh my gosh, like this is the environment in which I am most successful, right here. It's like collegiate baseball in another form, where I'm getting the same benefits that I did in that other area. I had another guy that I was talking to, very similar situation. He was just talking about how like not motivated he was to go work out and do that. And so I asked him, like, well, like, okay, so when were you in the best shape in your life? And he talked about his college days. Isn't that funny? I think we were all in like good shape in college for some reason. But he was thinking back to his college days. That's when he was in the best shape. And so I started asking him about like, okay, well, like, what did it look like? Who were you working out with? Were you working out with anybody? How did you plan? How did you do this? And this light bulb goes off in his head of like, oh my gosh, like I used to always have one person, my training partner with me. And he and I would sit and like plot out like, what are the next couple of weeks workouts going to be? And they would do that over and over and over again over the years. And at this point in his life, he's by himself working out. So what he did was actually put a plan together to go find a workout partner and create the same thing that he had before, just in a different area of his life. So this winning environment, man, if you're sitting there from a fitness perspective, I would ask you, like, when were you in your best shape? When were you in your best shape? And start diving into, like, what was so unique about that? Why were you successful? Who did you surround yourself with? How did you plan? How did you execute? How often did you work out? Like, was it with a team? Was it individually? And what was so unique about that made you successful? And then go and now recreate it in this area of your life. From that fitness perspective. The other amazing thing about this is that if you think about it, if I'm successful like environmentally, and that's what happens, right? That I have to have a team around me. Uh, I'm not very good at planning. I need people to kind of push me and help do that, right? I'm really good at executing. So why wouldn't I use that same thing in every other area of life, right? So for example, if when I started my business, uh, when you start a business, first of all, uh, a lot of it is you're on your own, right? And you get this feeling of that you're on an island and that there's no help, there's no boats coming, there's nobody else you can talk to, that you're in it alone. And that's part of the reality of starting a business, unless I guess you raise money and I don't know, start off with a team right away. But for me, the path was solopreneur, means solo by yourself. And but I was very aware of where I'm most successful in my life. And I knew that if I went off by myself, just like working out at the gym, if I went off by myself, if I isolated myself, if I tried to figure it out by myself, I was going to be in massive trouble, big trouble, to the point where I'd be going back and getting a job again, which I did not want to do. And so with intentionality, when I started this business, I started to create my team. Now it looks different, it feels different, of course, but what I found, which amazed me, is that I can create the same thing, just looks and feels a little bit different, but gets me to the same goals, right? So I started to surround myself with other speakers and authors and coaches. I hired a business coach because I knew I needed that. I started joining different mastermind groups. I started mastermind groups for my business where I learned from the people that I'm coaching as well. But I wanted to surround myself with this team because I knew that's where I was going to be most successful. Now, am I seeing these people every day? No. Am I talking to them every day? No. But I know from a mindset perspective that I've got this team set up. That's what I need. That's the environment in which I thrive. So I've got a team set up. I can reach out to them anytime, anywhere, for whatever that I need. They will take my calls. They will help me along the way. I set up my team. It's a simple concept, but if you understand it, it helps with everything in life, right? It's a matter of, from a mentor perspective, like if I want to have a great relationship with my wife, that why don't I set up like a team of other men, right? That I trust, that are on the same path or maybe further along than me on having a great relationship with their wives. Why wouldn't I do that? Because that's my team. Now, as far as the planning thing, you're probably saying, Matt, when you started your own business and you've admitted like you don't really like the planning side of things, right? You're more of an but focused on execution. Yeah, I get it. Well, first of all, this business coach helps me with some planning stuff. And the other side of it is that I've had this mindset shift as well, that the faster I plan, the faster I get to execute. So almost putting this clock up there and saying, hey, it's planning time. Let's do like a countdown and let's make it a competition where you get it done so you can go do what you absolutely love to do and get on the execution side. So there are all sorts of mindset shifts that happen along the way in your career, in your relationships, when you start a business, when you grow a business, and adjustments that you can make along the way. But the key I want you focused on today is, what environment do you thrive in? And I want you to think back to a time where, things were just going off the hook for you, off the hook good. It could be something from your career, from your business. It could be something like working out, right? When were things going really good? And I want you to dig into what was so unique about that situation. Again, who did you surround yourself with? Who was there? What did they say to you? What were you saying to yourself? How did you prepare for that situation? Dig into it to figure out what that environment is to you, and then compare it to where you're at today. Compare it to where you're at today, and then figure out what's one step that I can take, one simple thing to start moving towards that ideal environment. Some of you may be in it. and you're like, boom, I am bang on the perfect environment. I'm in it. And I would say, that's awesome. I keep it going. And for those of you not, I guarantee there's one simple step you can take. For me, starting this business, it was making one phone call to one other speaker and coach and telling them what I was doing and seeing if they'd be in my corner for me, if they would help me out. And I can give you a list of people that have helped me along the way, from Ruben Gonzalez, who I wrote my first book with. It's called Discovery. He has always been in my corner. Ben Newman, another guy who I happened to meet through through Ruben. Funny enough, Ruben introduced me to Ben because they shared the stage for an event and spoke on the same stage. And Ben and I've got to know each other, and he's helped me immensely along the way. And he'll write in his emails like, in your corner, right? Don Akers, this Diane Lujan. I could go on and on about people who've, most importantly, my wife, Shannon, my mother, my father. I could go on and on about all these people who've been in my corner, who've become part of my team along this journey. Danny Ballard, my business coach, my gosh. But point being, you can make one phone call to one person to tell them what you're up to, if that is your ideal environment. But figure out what that is for you. Such a powerful thing that I carry through every single day. I'm constantly analyzing just to make sure I'm staying in the right place. So I have that same wish and desire for you. Go find that ideal environment, kind of bottle it, right? Figure out what it is, put it in a bottle, and then just go like replicate it, uncork the thing like in every area of your life, because you have that power inside you. Go make a big difference in this world. I know that you were put on this earth to impact people in a big way. You can do that through the environment you set yourself up in, but realize that you are just one mindset shift away from making your impact even greater. Go get it today.